Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out with Simon Evans, physiotherapist, of course, for heavyweight contender Dillian White. We're here at Loughborough University, training base for White, ahead of next week's big fight with Oscar Rivas at the O2. Simon, thanks for joining us again. We've obviously spoken before. Just first of all, tell us any kind of different challenges that have come about in your work with Dillian for this fight specifically.
Yeah, well, I think every camp is unique in that you're always training for the opponent, and obviously not all boxers are the same. So with that, it has its challenges, but it all comes down to research and really look into what the other boxers bring to the fight and working around that.
Is that, in this case, linked to Rivas's height, for example? He's not tall particularly for a heavyweight, but he is quite broad and muscular. Does that kind of change the punch selection and as a result the physio work?
Yeah, it's bound to add to the tactics and things like that, but ultimately you've got to play to your strengths. I mean, Dillion's clearly strong in pretty much all areas. He's fit, he's looking great, he's injury-free, and putting all that together, we're in for a really exciting fight.
Physically, is he still at a place in his career where he's still physically developing? Are there still kind of physical and athletic elements that are improving as time goes on? Yeah,
absolutely. If you're looking at it from camp to camp, every fight he's getting better. I think when I last spoke to you, I think it was in the Shizora camp, he's better on since then again. So it's just a really exciting time for him, and he certainly hasn't peaked yet.
What are your key kind of measurement metrics that you look at to see his improvement? What are the things that you focus on?
There's various things that you can look at, certainly in the gym, from the conditioning side of things, and how looking at the rowing, at the cycling, at various weights. You can look at your cardiovascular fitness, heart rate monitoring, all sorts, even weight, hydration. There's a load of things you look at, and that's the science behind it, and that's very much where boxing is going now, as it's getting more and more higher profile and far more things at stake. It's all about just getting as much as we can in the backroom staff to help him and really push him through the line.
What, if anything, makes Dillian stand out from other athletes, even in other sports that you've worked with?
He's just mentally so tough, and it's a real strength of his. You never see him. So when you speak to him, he certainly never looks like he's struggling. He's very much he's so determined, so strong, just to really achieve that goal, which is obviously ultimately to win. And also within the gym itself, he puts everything into it. He never holds back on anything, and it's just all out all the time.
Is there kind of a disadvantage to that too, though, in that you're never 100% sure how much he's pushing himself? Because if he did have an injury or he was struggling, he might hide it.
Yeah, so that's very much where I've got to have that relationship and having that frequent catch-ups, if you like. And I see him most days myself, as does Al in the conditioning side of things as well. And around that, we're always talking and having meetings to see how the week went and monitoring everything. So he's always under close watch amongst us here at Loughborough, and he's doing really well.
In your specific role, how much do you need to know about the opponent that he's fighting and the pattern of the fight itself, or the likely pattern?
I think it all comes down to how they move and as we mentioned before, it's just strengths and things like that. So we can almost analyse where their downfalls are and areas where we could really work on. So a lot of that comes down to Mark as well, with Dillion's coach, obviously Mark Tibbs, and he's all over it. They completely know what Rivas is about, and they've done all the research.
So with that in mind, what can you tell us about Rivas without giving your own game plan away? What does he do well, and maybe what does he not do so well?
Well, he's clearly slightly. He's clearly more slight than Dillion. You can just visually see that. So that in itself, imagine he may move around the ring. He may like to move around the ring a fair bit, but we'll see what comes out of it. But obviously, he's a bit slighter and a bit lighter.
If that does prove to be the case and Dillion's forced to kind of chase to an extent, or ideally he won't chase, ideally he'll cut the ring off, but move more than he's used to perhaps in recent fights in Chizora's, you don't have to go looking for him. How would that feed into the physio aspect of what he does?
The beauty with Dillion is that wouldn't be a problem, whether he wants to move around the ring or whether he didn't. That would actually play to Dillion's hands either way. He's fit enough to move around and he's strong enough to be up front and close and to be toe to toe, if you like. So not concerned from that point of view. Very confident that Dillion has the attribute across the full spectrum to have that win.
And you said that he's still improving with every camp. As a boxer gets older, and you know, Dillion's still relatively young for a heavyweight, but as a boxer does get older, what are the key factors that you're looking out for signs of decline or possible pitfalls going forward?
I think the biggest things are like injuries, wear and tear, overuse injuries, and but Dillion's not in that category. He's still looking sharp. He's throwing the punches just as quick as he was before, harder than he was before, and he's just moving around the ring so well. He's just completely at ease.
What's it like for you personally on fight night? Do you get quite nervous for him when he's in there?
There's always an element of, I'm not sure it's nervousness, it's just the excitement which comes with it, and that's with the hype and the crowd and the announcers and just everything which comes with it. And even on fight week itself, everyone has a real sense of energy. It's just building up throughout the whole week, where they've got the press conference, the weigh-in. It's just a really exciting time to be involved with boxing.
And how much of an advantage is it for Dillion to be based at Loughborough University? Obviously, it's a big, huge campus, in fact, great sports facilities across a wide variety of disciplines. How much of an advantage is that compared to just training in a standard boxing gym? And no disrespect meant to those.
So, beauty at Loughborough is that we have such a variety of facilities, and it's not just facilities; they're world-class facilities. Whether that's in the labs, in the track, the indoor track, we've got a world-class gym. We've got the boxing ring here, and on top of that, the staffing as well. All the staff are heavily involved into research as well. So it's very cutting-edge, frontline. So that brings the science element to Dillion, and that just helps enhance his performance and improve him as a boxer.
And just before we let you go, if any people want to find out a little bit more about you, look at some of the work you do, how can they find you on social media?
Well, certainly on through Loughborough. We'll have the Loughborough website certainly on there, and then I'm very close with Dillion, so you probably see me appearing on his Instagram occasionally when he's training or something like that. But, yeah.
Brilliant. All right, well, we wish you the very best for next week, and thanks again for your time.